Of mine. He was sitting actually behind Donald Trump in the bleachers today when this all unfolded. I'm going to let him share exactly what he saw. It was a very harrowing moment that he was there for. Can you please tell us what happened, Joseph?
Yeah, it was the Trump. I was attending the rally. It seemed initially like firecrackers went off. It was very confusing initially because I knew it was gunfire, but I couldn't quite tell where it was coming from. It sounded like it was coming from behind the bleachers. And a man in the bleachers, kind of to the right of me in the bleachers, took a gunshot wound to the head, was killed. And another woman, I don't know exactly where she was in the bleachers. I think she was either behind me or to the right of me. She got around she got hit in the forearm and hand, it looked like. But if she was wounded, she wasn't killed.
Can I ask you how you're feeling? Obviously, you just witnessed something terrible happen. A lot of chaos was in the room. How exactly are you feeling right now, Joseph?
It's something you don't expect. It's a bolt out of the blue, so it's very shocking. It's just, I think a lot of people in the crowd just thought it was fireworks going off. I knew immediately it was gunshots. I knew they were close. And then when I saw someone get hit and go down, that's when I knew it was probably serious. It was a lot of confusion. It's just massive confusion, throughout the event. I saw Donald Trump get hit. It looked like he was either, I was running my camera at the time, but it looked like he was just turning his head to the side. It looked like he got grazed in the right ear with a bullet. I kind of saw that go on, and then I looked down, I saw that the man, had died in the bleachers. It was just complete pandemonium. There was a bit of a delay, there was a lot of confusion, but immediately, it seemed like more gunfire erupted. I couldn't figure out where that was coming from, and then, there was a state policeman there, I believe a SWAT team, showed up relatively quickly. They jumped the side. There was a fence, it was next to the bleachers. They jumped the bleachers and started clearing the bleachers. And then I helped carry the body of the man down out of the bleachers, and they took him to a tent behind the bleachers. We put a towel over his head, but he's deceased.
You were telling me before when we were chatting briefly that you never had a chance to make it to a Trump rally, that this was your first time. Would you feel safe coming back to another Trump rally?
Yeah, it's a very random event that happens. I feel safe generally where I go in the country. I think the problem is we have everyone seems very angry, and it makes you kind of I'll go to a Trump rally again, but I'll think twice. You definitely want to have your head on the swivel. It just seems like there's a lot of angry people out there, and I'm not shocked that this happened. I'm shocked that I was sitting there and it happened next to me. Obviously, you never anticipate that to happen, but it's just horrible. We shouldn't be at a level of political discourse in this country where this is going on. It feels like it's 1960 again. It's horrible.
Can you describe for me, Joseph, what happened after you saw the shots? And I was there as well. Secret Service was screaming for everyone to get down. They quickly tried to clear the area. I'm just curious what that process was like for you in the aftermath. Very
confusing. Like I said, I think everyone who was in the bleachers knew. It was initially confusing when the gunshots erupted. I think the crowd thought it was fireworks. I think someone thought they were playing a joke. And the people who were close to the people that got injured and killed, you obviously knew it wasn't a joke. And it seemed like there was a push-pull in the crowd, and that is, one half of the crowd on the far end of the rally thought it was some type of weird joke. The other half of the crowd knew it wasn't, was trying to push or impress upon the rest of the crowd that this is serious. And I think everyone got the idea very quickly that it was a dangerous situation, and everyone just started hitting the deck. And, kudos to the Secret Service. Again, when you're in these situations, a second feels like it's an hour, but it seemed like authorities were there very quickly. It just seemed to me, like I said, I was sitting there, it seemed like the rounds came from behind, and they hit the gentleman in the head. He got a gunshot wound to the head, and the other lady was injured. And then I saw President Trump, get hit, and it looked like his right ear. But it seemed initially everyone was half the crowd was in shock, and the other half thought it was some type of weird joke. And it took a bit for everyone to get a good understanding of what was going on. So.
You mentioned that you had spoken with the person who ended up falling, I believe you said, or he was with his whole family?
No, his family watched it happen. So they were in the bleachers when he got hit and he went down. I think they were trying to figure out what was going on. They were screaming for help. The body was, they put a towel over the man's head. The body was removed from the bleachers. Then the police came back, right after and tried to move the family, but they were all in shock. They weren't processing what was going on. The man was definitely, he was dead the minute he was hit. I mean, it was something that reminded me of the Zapruder film from Kennedy. I mean, it was his head snapped and that was it. And I caught it out of the corner of my eye, and and then there was just pandemonium. And again, it's Pennsylvania. You're out in rural Pennsylvania. You don't really anticipate this is going to happen, but it happened.
You mentioned, and I'm sorry, I know this is very emotional for you as well. You mentioned that, this was your first Trump rally. How are you feeling about the election now? What are you hoping to see moving forward? We've already seen a lot of statements of support from across the aisle come in for the former president. I can tell you, too, from our sources that they say that Donald Trump is okay, that he is at a local facility being treated. But I would love just your view on, I know you came here today to support the man that, the former president. I'm curious how you think about this now. I know it's a hard question given the chaos that we're currently in and the adrenaline that we're both feeling right now, but if you can share any of that insight.
It solidifies my support. I understand. People believe that Trump's. Well, they know he's bombastic. They don't really like him. He's a very polarizing figure. He has an abrasive personality. But I truly believe he has the best interests of the country at heart. And you make a point. The man's a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He could be sitting in the, like you said, he was sitting at the rally joking about it. He's like, I could be sitting in the Mediterranean on a yacht enjoying my life, but I'm not. I'm trying to help run the country. It puts in perspective there's a real cost for that. I mean, there's some people that really want him dead. And to me, this is just ridiculous. Like, we have a lot of political violence in this country. It comes from it's not so much from the right, it comes from everywhere. And it just needs to stop. JFK and RFK, you've had Martin Luther King. Now you're going to, attempt the life of Reagan. And now you have an attempted, assassination of Trump. It's just ridiculous. And it just, I don't think it's a gun problem. I don't think it's a violence problem. I think there's a lot of angry people that just have too much interest in politics, and it's a zero-sum game to them. Politics shouldn't be a zero-sum game where someone wins everything and someone loses everything. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a result of that. People came today. We're very happy. They're here to support Trump. But you can when you talk to people in the crowd, there's a tenseness. They don't want to talk to family members about politics because it just gets too angry. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to tell you, but this needs to stop.